I'm Rachel from Tyrion's Landing, a podcast member of the Gunna Geek Network, just like the one you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all the other podcasts at GunnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready, because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
You are listening to the Starling Tribune, a podcast dedicated to the Arrow TV show.
This guy gets more airtime than the Kardashians, right?
This podcast is not produced or maintained by the CW, Warner Brothers Television, CTV, or DC Comics. All characters, situations, and stories are the properties of Time Warner. I am at Oracle, and this is your Tribune.
And your reporters for this 22nd episode of the 3rd season of Arrow, titled This Is Your Sword. I am Stargate Pioneer. My friends call me SP, and with me is Jay.
Is that supposed to make me uncomfortable? Because it's kind of working.
And Chris.
I am better practiced in the art of deception.
And it is a special guest tonight, and I know Wing's going to be very jealous that he's not here, is Ferris.
If any of you speak, we're all dead.
Okay.
I'll let it slide this time.
Okay, good. I'll go with Malcolm is a mass murderer who has lied to us so many times, it should be a drinking game. Why didn't we think about that sooner?
You would die.
Yeah, I would. Hey, everybody. This podcast is recorded live at GonnaGeek.com/live on Friday, May 8th, 2015. We're just a few guys that love talking about our favorite TV show, Arrow. Just a little reminder that I am not a comic expert. I'm actually a sci-fi guy, but I'm really loving getting caught up with all the comic stuff, with everything that's going on, thanks to folks like Jay, who is a comic fan and enthusiast.
I'm getting better.
Getting better. And Jay,
no.
we have with us Chris, who is our resident comic geek.
You never get better from comics, man. You just keep going. It's like crack.
It is. My comicsology gets bigger and bigger all the time. And also with us, we have metal and comic fandom geek, Ferris.
And again, to reassert my Arrow cred, I did have a Mego action figure of Arrow.
That's impressive.
It is. I do.
Thanks.
You know, my only Arrow swag that I have in my room right now is a Arrow T-shirt. I also have the sweatshirt of the what do you call that special serum? Mirakuru sweatshirt, but it's too hot. I don't have it on. All I have is a T-shirt hanging up. So,
Do you own a bow, though?
Yes, I do.
Oh, there you go. That should count for something.
It's compound, though. Does that count?
It doesn't fold down to fit in his pocket, though, so it doesn't count.
That's true.
It does not. All right, this was I think you guys will agree that this was a fun, great episode. It was directed by Wendy Stansler?
I believe that's right.
Who has some cred. Go ahead, take a look at her IMDb. She has some directing credit that goes back to 2004 for a variety of different things. This is her 5th Arrow episode that she's directed. She's also done a Gotham episode, Flash episode, Revenge, even Glee. Can you imagine directing Glee and then Arrow?
Well, we can't hold Gotham against her. Work is work, I guess.
Right. Did you happen to see the season finale of Gotham, by the way?
I don't watch that crap.
I haven't watched any of it yet.
Ooh.
The very last scene of Gotham almost makes the first season worth it. But if
So you're saying I should skip
Almost,
everything and watch the last scene?
I definitely would watch the last scene and tell you what. If you are a Gotham fan, go check out the Gotham Nightline podcast on the Gunna Geek Network. They talk everything Gotham. So if you're interested
Nobody is
in
a
it,
Gotham fan.
just driving a stab into the hearts of our Gotham Nightline hosts, Ferris. Thank you very much.
If you want a good Batman TV show, go watch Daredevil.
Yeah, that's not too far off.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and talking about Daredevil, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. will be podcasting episode by episode every week starting May 20th. So tune in for your Daredevil goodness. And if you haven't watched it yet, you so should watch it. And catch up with us on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., but you should watch it, absolutely, because it's amazing.
Always seen. Always seen.
Exactly.
Always seen.
To tie us back into Arrow, if you haven't seen Daredevil yet, you have failed this city.
You have failed your
/
comic
podcast.
geekdom. Yes.
Arrow has been so good this season. I don't blame you if you've found it difficult to make time for Daredevil, though.
Yeah, and part of it is because we had the triplet story and teleplay by Eric Olson, Ben Kowalski, and Brian Ford Sullivan, and they have done 5 episodes between them, and I believe they're close to the 5 best episodes of this season 3 of Arrow. So that
What
is
else have
why.
they done?
I mean, just go look at their IMDb now, and This Is Your Sword, Broken Arrow, Nanda Parbat, Midnight City, and The Secret Origin of Felicity Smoke.
Oh, Felicity. I'll be in my bunk.
Mama Smoke.
There's a bunch of other stuff too with them. So they're all producers of the show and writers, whatever. So they do have a tight knit going on this season, which is great. But hey, we have definitely a lot of subterfuge going on in this episode in real time. It was kind of fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you kind of get tipped off at the very, very beginning when, Raish is talking about how he got the serum and stuff, and it's, reveals that Maseo is the one that gave it to him. And as soon as he does, Oliver's like, "What?" And you're like, "Oh, okay."
Son of a.
And it's like at that moment, I was like, "Okay, yep, he's been playing him." That's what I figured. Like, I mean, that gave it away right there. So it was kind of nice that they tipped their hand very early.
Yeah, but they didn't tip their hand on the end when they seal them in all the Team Arrow in the cell.
Well, the question is, they're going to survive. Is it because they gave Roz a fake serum to drop in there, or they inoculated somehow? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, I was betting on the inoculation, but I don't know.
And I'm sure they'll hold it over Oliver's head. I have some serious issues with the way they're treating Oliver.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, look at the way he's been treating them. It's like the only person that he tells his secret to is Malcolm. Like, really?
Well, I got a feel for the guy, right? Because at his wedding, his soon-to-be wife, like within seconds, tries to kill him. He has to fend off an attack at the altar or whatever they call it.
But here's why you would tell Malcolm and get him on your side. I don't think it's the greatest idea, but Roz is going to be watching all of your friends to see how they're reacting.
No, I get it. I completely understand his point. It just, if I were Diggle, yeah, I would have a serious chip on my shoulder. I would be severely pissed.
So are we all just forgetting a few episodes back they lied to and played Ollie about the fact that Roy was dead?
That was just
and we're just like, oh, that's okay. You're allowed to lie to Oliver, but if he lies to try and do something better for the greater good, oh, he's evil.
Okay, but they basically just like, I don't know. I felt like that was more acceptable. He literally left a child, like an infant, alone in the crib, stole her mother in front of her, just to prove a point to somebody that they're trying to
remember it.
I'm sorry. As a father, I cannot abide that. That bothered me to no end. And honestly, as a viewer, as a fan, I'm still frustrated with Oliver for that.
Yeah, that was not nice. I'd like to think maybe there was some kind of off-screen babysitter or something that he had arranged to take care of that eventuality.
That bothered me.
He's not totally evil. He just plays totally evil on TV.
So, I mean, this season to me, it feels a lot like Sons of Anarchy, in that there's always some kind of incredibly Byzantine long con going on that's going to be going on until
that's
like
a fair statement.
10 seconds of the episode. And that's neither good nor bad, but I mean, I feel like maybe a lot of people have a lot of pieces and a lot of cards that they're not showing to us yet. Maybe the bit with Merlin is like a counter con to the setup for the long con that they're conning the cons.
I'll tell you, when he turned on Oliver, I was like, oh, you dick. You're just such a dweeb. I can't believe you just did that.
Well, it's consistent. He can't change his stripes. He's always been that way.
But see, that's the same thing. Is like, they've had, apparently Ollie and Malcolm have had this whole thing worked out down to the T, to where like they knew where to meet each other, random. everything is so planned out between the two of them that I was seriously, when that happened, I'm like, that was my first reaction too, was like, oh, you son of a, and then I'm like, wait, was this something they had planned?
Right. That's what I was starting to think.
I don't want to give
planned.
Malcolm, I don't want to give Malcolm the benefit of the doubt because he is evil, because he is a maniac. But at the same time, I'm like, this could be something that Malcolm is just playing along according to plan, and then at the very end, once everything is safe, he's going to twist it and then become a villain again.
Yeah. It's like Ward on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. I can't get into this guy. I never wanted
Agents
to.
of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. On my other podcast, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we talk about Grant Ward, and he is never going to be recovered from whatever it is. The same thing with Malcolm. I mean, you got to admit, John Barrowman, jeez, plays a great character on whatever TV show he's on, right? But
Oh, yeah.
But I can't get into his character. It's never going to be okay with me on screen. He's always going to be the little sniveling guy that just takes advantage for himself, and it's just who he is. He's not going to change it.
Yeah, I consider him part of the team at this point. So whatever evil he has going on, regardless, I think he's thoroughly in the Arrow camp. Now, I'm not saying that's where he will land for the season necessarily, but
I don't know if I'd say that he's part of the team. He's part of the family, but I don't know if he's part of the team.
I mean, but he's someone they kind of have no
Fair
choice
enough.
but to use, because who knows the league that's available better than Malcolm Merlin?
well,
Who
what
knows
is
how they think and how they operate?
Well,
what
apparently
is
the
the
new Mrs.
stronghold
Queen.
called?
Yeah.
Nanda Parbat?
Yeah, that. On one hand, awfully impregnable. On the other hand, pretty easy to just kind of roll up to it.
Wise choice of words, since that's what Ollie is going to be doing with Nissa.
Oh, that is.
Dude, Ray's just pimping his daughter out.
I don't want to spoil it, but later on in the episode, when we talk about predictions for the finale, I think I know what the big twist is for the end of it.
You think that Nissa's actually going to wind up being Connor's mom?
No, I think. Well, you know what? I'll spoil it. I'll just put it out there.
No,
I
no.
think at the end of this season. Or sorry, do you want me to save it?
Yeah, I was just going to say his big twist is that Nissa is actually a champion Twister player.
No, I think what the big final thing at the very last 10 seconds of the episode, Felicity says, "Oliver, I'm pregnant." Melissa says, "Oliver, so am I."
It is a CW show, so
And then
it's possible.
And what's her name from Central City comes back. Oliver, here's your son.
Oh, dear Lord.
We haven't talked about her in a long time. She's great.
Because she hasn't been on the show for a long time. Honestly, she hasn't been on the show since the flashback with Moira. The only other time we've seen her was on Flash.
Right, and she's busy filming Defiance in Toronto. This show films in Vancouver, so it's a plane ride to get her to show up.
Canadian geography. I don't know.
Yeah, where's Toronto? Where's I don't care. It's all up there. It's north of
It's
of
north
Oklahoma,
of the state of
right?
Texas. I don't
Yeah.
care.
It's in America's hat somewhere. I don't know where.
Take that wing.
But mark my words, that is how the season ends. Felicity and Nissa both impregnated by Oliver.
I kind of hope not.
Oh. So yeah, Thea is now Speedy?
I believe Thea will become Speedy.
Well, did you guys watch the preview for next week? Like the one that was at
yes.
the end of the episode? There's a real quick clip you can see of Diggle, and to his right, you can see a quiver holding red arrows and a shoulder of red leather. So I would assume that's Thea in the costume next week.
Okay, so
Maybe it's somebody else.
so for us Americans who are Canadian geography challenged, Adam in the chat said New York to Seattle is basically Toronto to Vancouver. So there you go.
Hey, that's still
Okay,
not
yeah.
Texas. I have no frame of reference.
Adam,
It's
you're
all
gonna have
South
to
Canada.
Adam, you're gonna have to come up with a Texan reference. Okay, go on, guys.
I definitely think that this was one of the better episodes. This was intriguing, and there was a lot that they build off of. And honestly, it's going to be interesting to see how this all gets played out. And I don't see it being wrapped up cleanly. I think that there's going to be fallout from this that we see next season as well.
Yeah, because there's
I
going to
agree.
be another season.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he's going to jump right back into being the Arrow again after everything that's happened, or the Green Arrow if that's what he becomes.
Well,
Yeah, how I was thinking about that on the way down into the my inner sanctum here. How does he go back to being the Arrow? I mean, what kind of scenarios can you guys predict?
I don't know, because they've kind of just dropped Lance off the face of the earth the past couple weeks, and there's going to be major repercussions to the war that Lance has created against the Arrow, and I don't think we're going to see that until season 4. I almost said 3.
The way that I can see it being handled is that the League shows up with their bioweapon and everything's going to hell, and we see the whole devastation and everything that seems to be the series MO at the end of the season. And then Oliver swoops in with the cure at the very end and saves the entire city as the Green Arrow, and then is accepted back into the public heart.
As news cameras are rolling?
Yeah, something like that. It's going to take something of that caliber for it to wind up being, for him to be accepted as a hero instead of a vigilante.
Well,
He's either going to have to make a new suit or go steal it back from
Yeah.
the Starling City PD.
I was going to say, is he going to unmask himself? Because Roy is the Green Arrow as far as everybody's concerned in Starling.
No, but that kind of bought him his chance to go back to being the Green Arrow. Because now it's, Oliver Queen got arrested for being the Arrow, but he wasn't. It was really this other kid over here who's dead now. So now we've got a copycat or something like that, or this is the original, or
This is someone who's taken up the mantle to honor the original Arrow.
or it might be that this was the original Green Arrow before he started killing people and became a public enemy again. This is the hero that we had beforehand, and the other guy was a copycat who sullied the name.
His name was Sully? Like Monsters, Inc. Sully?
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
They're trying to get in with Disney so they can become a part of Marvel instead, and it's just it's messy.
DC is screwing us over. They took away Suicide Squad. They took away Argus. We want to come on board, Marvel. Please take us.
And they're probably
Billy
going to take
Crystal's
this.
character is what color?
What's that, Ferris?
In Monsters Incorporated, Billy Crystal's character is what color? Green.
Oh, yes, green. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
You
It
got
all
a
fits
Sully.
together.
Yeah. Hashtag it. It's all connected.
Well,
But that is my theory. Like I think exactly that, or that's my unimaginative theory, or the best I could come up with was that somehow Arrow swoops in and publicly saves the day. But I don't know how they trot out an identity for Arrow.
I don't know. I'll be curious to see. You guys do also realize we're probably going to lose Katana after this season too, right?
Oh yeah, no, she's done by the end of the season.
Yeah.
That's
Which is one more episode.
Pretty much.
is it just
Yeah,
one?
again, we talked about it a little bit the last time I was here. My big pet peeve with the show over the previous 2 episodes or the previous 2 seasons has been the woman character storyline. I mean, last season I literally fast forwarded through almost every woman character storyline except Canary.
Hey, some of their outfits were hot.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think the women this year have been much, much better served, and all of them have interesting things to do, and they're behaving smartly and doing well. But Katana seems to be like the one kind of inconsequential character.
Yeah, regardless of Felicity's ability to kill an assassin with her broken iPad or Surface tablet or whatever, regardless.
That was a
she-
nice moment.
Yeah, she actually hit him in the throat. She's got an arm, regardless of whether she actually killed that guy or not.
Felicity has strong tablet foo.
It's got to be a Surface tablet, though.
Well, yeah, an iPad would shatter on impact. So
Maybe she was in Starling City. There were some residual waves. Maybe she's a metahuman at this point.
Yeah, I don't know what's
Everybody
going on
else
with
is.
that. Yeah.
Pretty much.
I'm wondering when Cisco is going to be found out to be a metahuman over in Central City with our buddies over on Crimson Comet talking about the Flash, which has just been building. Flash season 1. Okay, let's do a little comparison. Flash season 1 to Arrow season 1. Which is better?
Flash.
Flash.
I'm sorry,
Flash.
there's no comparison.
I think I love the team chemistry, the actors' chemistry on Flash. I mean, they just seem to have come together in a way that the Arrow team took a while to gel toward.
Yeah, and if you go back and you watch Arrow season 1, Stephen Amell could not act at all.
Well, he didn't have to act.
Well,
all he had to do was
he could
show
do
up
the
without
ladder
a shirt.
trick.
Yeah.
That's why nobody noticed that he couldn't act, because he took his shirt off at least 2 times per episode.
And he was traipsing around Lian Yu with Slade. So it's all good.
Yeah, that's why I don't do the ladder trick. It makes people overlook.
You want people to understand what you're saying.
Exactly. But no, I think Flash season 1 is amazing. I mean, they're going through it like there's not going to be a season 2, where they're just throwing in all these characters and plot lines, and they're handling them well.
So Flash is also benefiting from the fact that they set up a bunch of stuff for it in Arrow. They didn't have to do a pilot episode that created the character. They introduced this character to everyone in 2 episodes of Arrow already. They introduced the team to everyone in 2 episodes of Arrow. So it was a lot easier to start from that point because you've done a lot of the groundwork already.
Crossovers have been really good this year. I've enjoyed every single one of them.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's looking like the finales for both are going to be crossover extravaganzas leading to the spinoff, apparently.
Well, it's going to be interesting because we have 2 episodes of Flash left and 1 episode of Arrow left. So I'm curious how it's all going to line up.
Well, and didn't Flash take a week off, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is taking advantage of that and playing their episodes back to back?
No, because Flash is on Tuesday.
Yeah, okay.
See, that's how it's going to go into. That's how everything's going to get resolved. Is that the final episode of Flash happens after Arrow, and he goes back in time and just erases everything. So season 3 of Arrow never actually happened. Oliver never became Ra's al Ghul. He's still the city's hero. It's just that's how everything gets retconned.
So you're going to pull a Dallas and everything's going to be a dream.
Is he?
But
Gonna...
he still has visions of getting close with Felicity, we'll say.
And Nyssa.
And Nyssa.
And a sword through his chest. But, he tries to gloss over those.
Well, it doesn't matter because Adam would come around and save him next time.
What, you mean Iron Man?
Yeah. Iron Man. Oh, everything about that scene was Iron Man.
It was straight out of Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
Him flying through the plane, I'm like, hey, Iron Man did that in his first movie.
I was sitting there, I was like, when are you guys writing Jon Favreau his royalty check?
Yeah, including even the crash when he goes into the little sand dune on the bottom. Oh, by the way, the final fight, you got a bunch of assassins with like bows and arrows, and you're just fighting out in the open with swords. Dangerous.
Oh, yeah. Well, I did like the fact that Malcolm had to save Laurel.
Yeah. And she said she wouldn't return the favor. He said, I know.
But he should have been like, yeah, you wouldn't have to because I'm actually a good fighter.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, every time we've seen Laurel get into an actual fight, or heck, last week she even got into a fight with like a little street thug and wound up getting sliced with a little, 1/2-inch knife. Like, I mean, she is not a hero. She is not a crime fighter. She's a liability every time she goes out.
Yeah, I mean, what I liked about her sister was that, I mean, they're both
She was
smoking.
competent.
I was going to say boob window.
They're both smoking hot, no question. And the boob window had its
the costumes
tactical
aren't,
disadvantages. But I mean, her sister looked more like an actual MMA fighter. She had like kind of a Ronda Rousey body type, as opposed to Laurel Dinah, who is built a lot more like a ballerina, I think.
Have you seen pictures of her on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever she's got going on? She is just in the gym. I wouldn't want to compete with her. I've been in the gym for 3 years now. She is amazing.
Yeah, but she still can't fight for crap. Like Katie Cassidy looks incredible, but Laurel is something completely different.
Yeah, you got to admit they've done a lot better with her character in this year than last year.
You kind of have to. When you hit bedrock, there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, I mean, when I say that, I'm not saying it to be funny. I'm not saying it to be cute. Season 2, I literally fast forwarded through 3 of the 4 woman-oriented plot lines, and I never felt like I was missing anything.
Well, you didn't, because you had alcoholic Laurel show up basically for the entire season. Thea was just messed up galore.
And the mom's in jail, and the mom's still in jail, and the mom's still in jail, and I think she might have died at some point. I don't know.
So we've been talking about canaries. When are they finally going to resurrect Sarah? Is it going to happen this episode, or are we going to see that happen in an episode of Legends of Tomorrow?
See, are they going to resurrect her, or are they going to do it in flashbacks? We keep asking this.
No.
I'm thinking resurrection, considering most of these people won't have had powers during the past.
Barry's going to go back in time and stop the arrow from ever killing her. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay, so if that's actually what happens, they make it so that everything that happened in season 3 doesn't count. Is anyone else going to be like, what the hell?
If that's what they're doing, I want everyone to die next episode. I want
They already did.
No, I want the finale of season 3 to be everyone completely and totally dead. No chance of resurrection. Nothing, like everyone is just dead, and then black screen.
Barry Allen just kneeling in the middle of a circle of bodies, crying up to the heavens, "No!"
And Wally West comes in.
I would love to have Wally West.
I think they've alluded to the fact that Wally West will be in the series of Flash at some point in time.
He's going to be like 10 years old.
Time travel, dude.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Or Kid Flash.
Well, when Barry reboots the universe, he'll reboot it so that Wally becomes the Flash, and then he'll be stuck outside of time. I don't know.
Or maybe like a hard 15 years later jump forward to where both of Wally's sons or daughter or son and daughter are now grown in their Teen Titans.
So Adam in the chat says he agrees with you, Jay. Sort of. He says Legends of Tomorrow. The main character named Hero is a time traveler, and I'm guessing we'll get her during the timeline between season 2 and season 3. And everything that I just said, Adam did say except for Hero. From Heroes, if you didn't catch that.
How do I see the chat, guys?
It's at gonnageek.com/live, and it's Chatwing Chat. It's right there.
Chat live?
Gonnageek.com. And then you'll see a banner that says live broadcast in big red letters. Just click on that. That'll get you there. See, you're informing our listeners by doing this, too. It's very educational to have you on the program, Ferris.
This is actually a setup. I know this, of course.
Of course.
You wouldn't show up unprepared. What are you talking about?
No, that would never. At least he's got a good microphone.
This is a product placement right here.
Yeah.
I do. This very excellent microphone that I'm on was a gift from Starpie. Thank you very much.
Because I wanted to hear your dulcet tones on Starling Tribune, man.
And I used this with another podcast, and the guy seemed kind of nervous. Like, do you have a decent mic? Can you? And I told him what I had, and he said, "Oh no, that's good. No, you're good. You're
See,
good, man.
I know what I'm talking about."
Yes, you do, sir. Yes, you do.
All right, so what do we got? We got Ollie playing off Roz. We got Roz playing off Ollie. Malcolm being the sniveling guy, he may or may not be playing a game with Ollie or playing with Ollie. Got Thea and Roy reuniting. Had the obligatory CW sex scene. We've got the virus in both the flashbacks. And can we go to the flashbacks a little bit? General Shreve, I want to wring his neck.
There's no reason to go back to the flashbacks except to prove, hey, look, the kid died, even though we've been talking about it for weeks. He really did die. Now there's no reason to be here.
Until he gets dropped in the Lazarus pit.
Shreve or Akio?
Akio.
Oh, Maseo. Lazarus pit. He's literally right there.
Yeah, but they're not going to waste the Lazarus pit on him.
Why not? You come out changed, right?
Yeah, Theo's so different.
No, they needed to get rid of the character, so here's a good reason.
Yeah.
That you've got to have your final transformative moment for Katana where she's lost her child, she's lost her husband, and now she's actually lost him again because he's dead. And you have that powerful moment where he says, "Thank you for freeing me," basically.
Yeah. I don't count that as she lost him. She freed him. She definitely, just like you said, she killed him, released him from his bonds, and he's no longer evil.
I don't know, because it looked like she stabbed him right in the feels, because she was sobbing at the end of that. That was not an easy scene to watch.
No,
You've got to think she had some hope that there might be redemption for him at some point. And Oliver even wanted to redeem him. When I'm Roz, I can release you from your bond.
Yeah.
well, and then the powerful part of that scene is she was singing to him the same song that she sang to Akio.
Yeah.
That was.
Although, I mean, the thing when he's about to kill her, and he's like, tell Akio that I love him, and she flips up and stabs him. You tell him for both of us. It was like, oh,
That was nice.
that was rough.
And side note, can I just say how badass her costume was as Katana?
I was watching it as she was fighting Masao with the red boots, and it was, wow. You stand out on the battlefield with that. That's nice.
It was an obviously CGI'd background, it seemed like to me, but it was really cool looking.
Oh, yeah. No, it was. It absolutely was. But, I mean, come on. She took down 3 League of Assassin members with 3 strokes. Didn't even waste time. Just 1, 2, 3 dead. And these are people that we've seen everyone struggle with.
And then she took out what is arguably Roz's right-hand man right now in Masao.
Yeah.
Because my assumption is once Malcolm left the League, Masao moved up and became Roz's right-hand man.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So, Chris, I have to disagree with you on this. It was real effects. It wasn't CGI. They actually had to buy a $250 million F-35 and destroy it.
I was just talking about the background was CGI.
This was the most expensive Arrow episode. This Arrow episode outdid every single other one in terms of money because they had to buy that F-35 to destroy it. And they can't just buy one. It's like Fast and Furious, right? They destroy, 7,000 billion cars? So they bought a few F-35s. It was great.
And, a lot of people don't know this, but the Atom suit is real.
Yep, fully functional and everything.
Tony Stark built it.
And that stuff costs.
They're renting it from Marvel is what they're doing.
Ray spent so much money getting it from Marvel that he had to sell the company to Felicity.
Now speaking of Ray, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying we didn't even talk about that. Felicity got rich. I mean, but the thing I was thinking, like, he had her sign that and whatnot, and then look at it. I'm like, doesn't a document of that importance need, like, I don't know, a notary?
Witnesses, things like that. I don't know. I was trying to figure out whether he signed over the whole company or just the Starling City portion of the company to her.
Oh, I'm sure it's probably just the Starling City portion, but still, we're talking billions of dollars worth of a company here. Like, you don't just, write that down on a bar napkin and say, hey, guess what? You own this now. Like,
yeah.
Well, the only thing we've seen from the company this year has been Ray Palmer in his suit. We haven't seen any other major asset in the company.
Hey, but I guess we know where Arrow HQ is going to be next season.
In the secondary cave?
That's going to be in the wow, brain fart. Palmer's company. Wow, how did I lose that?
Now, is it just me, or has Ray been a little bit loopy since his brain episode? Like, that did tweak his character a little bit, right?
It could be the multiple concussions from crashing his suit each week.
That too.
Yeah, he doesn't have Dummy and you looking out for him.
But he is becoming like a little bit more like punch drunk as it goes on, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Like, he's less uptight and more.
Honestly, I attributed that to the fact that he told a woman that she loves him, and she offered to get him Jell-O, and then went off to sleep with her friend.
Yeah, they've never clearly broken up at this point.
I thought they did.
They kind of assume, because Ray offers. He's like, "Is this an Oliver thing? Do you want to talk about it?" And Felicity's like, "Yeah, I don't think that we need to cross that line yet." Like, I think that it's understood between the two of them that they are not together. We never got the official, like, no, I'm breaking up with you speech, but I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty clear that she had more feelings for Oliver than Ray. And while it hurt him, he couldn't be with her because of that.
Yeah.
I'll take her that though. I mean, if you're going to throw her away, I'm right here. Right here.
No, she likes guys that like Doctor Who episodes, so I've got you trumped. Sorry.
Fine. I'll go with Agent 13.
Although to tie into the whole Doctor Who reference that we got, like, you know, I noticed at the end during the whole wedding ceremony thing, or right before it, he's like, you know, this is your name. It means, you know, heir to the demon, but soon you'll be son of the demon. Then you'll be the head of the demon. And I'm like, you know, we get of the demon everything. I'm like, is this guy like, you know, Rassilon at this point? Because
it's all about branding, man. It's just like Stan Lee. He brands everything so he can keep making money.
Why not? Can we really blame the guy cashing in after all these years? No. I'm not. Let the guy have some fun. Haley will kill me for saying this, but he doesn't have that many years left, so let him have some fun. Seriously.
Not cool, dude. Not cool.
Well, you know, I hope that one of his superhero characters actually comes through and builds him some life expectancy extension, but who knows? Anyway, let's get back to DC here. You guys have
Katana, I want to say was awesome. The one thing that I have been fast forwarding through this season has been the flashbacks. And, you know, they're painfully brief. When I fast forward, it's about 24 seconds at a clip. And sometimes, most of the time, in fact, if I hit it twice, the flashback is over already.
Yeah.
So they're keeping them painfully brief. But I didn't even realize they were setting her up to be Katana until she appeared in a mask. Like,
well,
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, right. So I'll counter, before we talk about the mask a second, I'll counter your argument for a split second, because we did see the Shadow sister flashbacks, and those were a bit longer for that one episode.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, like 5 out of 6, I think, are under a minute, and, you know, occasionally they run like 3, but for the most part.
Well, and let's be honest, they're really stretching out the flashbacks this season. There hasn't been a lot of meat to them.
No, because I mean, honestly, okay, virus gets released, kid dies. What else do you really need from the flashbacks?
The introduction of Shreve.
Well, once we got the setup of, you know, of Maseo and Tatsuo and Shreve, and then, you know, okay, Waller apparently got captured or something, which they still haven't touched on at all. I'm like, that's a flashback I want to see. How does that play out? I want to see that. I don't want to see them sitting in a pharmacy for the whole episode, hoping that this kid might get better, even though we've been told for the past 5 episodes that he won't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of the flashbacks at all at this point. I think all they do is, you know, in the big picture, I think they just detract from the current storyline.
Which is really sad, because honestly, some of the flashbacks last season were arguably better than the A storyline.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this year, again, with the Sons of Anarchy comparison, you know, Sons of Anarchy always kind of pulled something out of their butt at the very last minute. And I think that the flashback are kind of setting up something like that this time, in that something's going to happen in the final half hour of the season that has been the entire point of having the flashbacks. But without those flashbacks, I think maybe that would force them to do something consequential in the present.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, oh, this was actually in play for the past 5 years.
Yeah, we still have 2 more years of flashbacks to go through.
No,
Oliver.
please, no.
Well, they've
Please,
set it
God,
up.
I don't
that way.
ask you for much.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we got no choice.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be a little bit better next year. We'll see. And maybe they'll have some tie-ins to Tomorrow Legends, too. Who knows? The Legends of Tomorrow. The third show between the two that's coming on. You've got
maybe a little bit of Lost action in Flash Forward.
It could be. Why not?
Jump ahead 20 years. There's a one-armed Ollie. What happened?
Right. And there are people involved with the show that were involved with Flash Forward, too. So, in any event, you guys have anything else? I've got, let's see, I've got a quick hit that when Oliver reveals his betrothal to Felicity.
And then stares her directly in the face.
Yeah. She was just like, "Oh, I hate you so much."
Yeah.
Again,
I've got
that's not consistent either because they're like, oh, Oliver Queen's dead.
Yeah.
Okay, this isn't your Oliver. Why are you so angry?
Because he was revealed to be their Oliver because he sent for them as a team to help him.
So,
But they didn't believe it. Remember, it was all we have to do this because Starling's going to get attacked. I don't think we can really believe Oliver because, God forbid, we look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Well,
I have 3 lingering questions at this point, and maybe they'll resolve them this semester. But here's what I want to know. You want me to list them all, and we can run through them?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's do it.
Okay, number 1, is Roy gone for good this time?
I think pretty much. He'll come back for some cameos, but yeah,
They have to pay him to do so.
Yeah.
His contract is up.
And if that was how they were sending him out, that's nice. I see how that sets him up as a solo character. But, again, is he gone or is he not gone? So I'm not sure if Roy is gone.
I'm pretty sure he is since he gave the costume to Thea. For all intents and purposes, we're probably not going to see him again, at least anytime soon.
We'll get him name checked, but that's probably about it, honestly. That's all I expect.
Yeah, Channel 52 will have some news story out of another affiliate of some masked archer helping out in another city. They're like, oh, it must be Roy or something like that.
And does Merlin, what do you guys think again? Like, does Merlin survive the season?
That's a good question. I do not know the status of his contract for next year.
He has been signed for like 5 seasons. I'm not sure if that was in season 1 or season 2, but he's going to stick around for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, but remember, there's some people that were in a certain movie that just came out that were signed for multiple movies too.
Okay.
I'm trying not to spoil.
Without knowing about the contracts, just story speculation, I think that's where this whole season has been pointing toward Merlin dying, some kind of honorable sacrificial death.
No, I think he's going to come back. He's going to come back. I'd say probably season 5, assuming we get there. He's going to come back as the main villain. At that point, he is going to be fully Merlin. He is going to be Oliver's nemesis.
Teamed up with Slade, maybe?
I wouldn't even say that much.
Okay.
Do you think that Merlin is bigger than we've been led to believe? Like, do you think maybe he's some kind of larger figure, like a Ra's al Ghul, or?
I think he's been laying the groundwork. I think that when he gets revealed to be the big bad, we're going to see that the previous few seasons has, everything he's been doing has been around him laying the groundwork to become this villain.
I think that's a solid thought. And you do they've already set it up. We're going to be dealing with Hive next season. And once they go away, there's going to be a power vacuum of some kind. And that's where I would not be shocked to see Malcolm Merlin come in and be like, hey, thanks for doing all the hard work for me. And then take over that empty space with some evil criminal syndicate or something like that.
Exactly.
The dude gets around pretty fast. Like, one scene he's there with Thea in the loft in Starling City. And then very next scene, he's meeting with Oliver, whatever. Out in whatever you want, whatever his name is in this episode, he's meeting with him out in the desert by Nana
Ali
Parbat.
Sahim.
Yeah,
Afghanistan.
Well, see, he's just taking the Barry Express. That's all. Barry Allen's helping out.
Yeah, okay.
No, he's
Not
got
really,
Dr. Wells
kid.
carrying him around.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised. That would be an awesome team up.
Oh, that would. I'd love to see that.
Oh, now you got me salivating. Awesome. All right, so what's your third point, Ferris?
I forget. I've made some kind of note. It's squiggle, good or bad. Is somebody good or bad? Who can we think of that was good or bad?
Oliver or Nissa?
Nissa.
Maybe Malcolm? I don't know.
Yeah, could be
Malcolm's just Malcolm. You can't define him as good or bad. It's all shades of gray.
Chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
Except for I don't think he's neutral. I think he's.
I was gonna say chaotic evil, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey,
I don't know that he's necessarily evil. I mean, he's just selfish. Everything's about Malcolm.
right.
But yeah.
Okay. So we normally do at this part of the podcast a checklist.
I've got some notes.
You got
some
go
notes.
ahead.
So, all right, when Raish was trying to talk to Nissa, like convince her to marry Oliver and like gave her the necklace and everything, the whole conversation was basically, hey, look, I was a man slut, but then I made your mom and made her my whore. That was how that whole conversation went down. I was like, what was that?
Yeah, I thought whatever kind of point he was trying to make there, he was not using appropriate language.
Yeah, no.
Not with
And
your
then-
daughter.
So when Thea was telling Roy that Oliver had accepted Raish's offer, she's like, he went and now he's become someone else, and I wanted her so badly to follow it up with, he's become something else.
I did the same thing. I paused it with something else.
I know. Same here. I'm glad we all caught that.
All right. And then, all right, so with General Shreve, why would you keep your insulin in a safe instead of a refrigerator?
No, his insulin was in his hand in that little, the little.
No, the thing that he told Maceo, it's in the safe. Here's the code. He opens it up and pulls it out, and it's in like special little files, which aren't refrigerated, which aren't like anything near what insulin actually is. It's not even the same
Convenient plot
color.
device, that's all.
Yeah, exactly.
He was setting him up. He was setting him up the whole time. He was trying
I know,
to get
but I'm like,
captured.
that wasn't insulin. That was blue water that you put in there, and you just came up with something. I don't know.
Although it was awesome when Maceo shot him.
Yeah, I
Like,
do have to say that.
The next what goes in your head, I would have just shot him. I mean, who cares?
Where did
And-
Oliver get his bow from magically in that scene, too? They're walking around the city streets with, like, maybe some guns, and then magically Oliver's got a bow and is mowing people down.
Well, because he made it out of hotel paraphernalia or something.
No,
but this isn't a bow that folds up that he can carry on a belt. I mean, he's got his bow from Lian Yu, and I'm like,
yeah,
where did that come from?
Because they're infiltrating the Shreve's Argus buddies or whatever, and it was confiscated the last time that they were captured. So he picks it up from the armory or whatever when they kill the guy that's guarding it.
Well, we're obviously missing a scene to give us that hint of what's happening, because we go from one scene of them walking down a street to then barging into this military facility with a bow and arrow and guns. And I'm like, what?
Sure. And then the last note that I've got is Roy's letter to Thea. It's like, hey, thanks for the suit, but I always thought red was your color. I'm like, so you wore red every damn day of your life.
Drove
but
red cars.
Now it's her color? Like, what the hell?
Wore a red hoodie.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, everything. He was a Power Ranger at this point, wearing the red. But it's her color now? Like, what?
He wears
Where'd
a
that
red
come
thong.
I mean, it was a way to pass the torch. It just was not handled as well as it could be. That's all.
I get that. It was just that phrase stood out to me like, what?
Yeah, my BS meter was pegged on that one.
It's the CW. They had to draw in the female audience, the young teenage female audience.
Yeah. No, I get it. I completely understand. It just, any other phrase would have fit better there, but.
Phrasing. Okay. Was
And
that
then
it?
All right. So with the marriage scene at the very end, and
Yeah.
she's basically, she's not reading off marriage vows. She's reading off a imprisonment verdict is what she's doing, and I'm like, this would have been much more entertaining if she'd started out with marriage.
Yeah.
Marriage is what. Sorry. That's just what played through my head while I was watching it the second time. I'm like, no, I'm going to play this because I can't get through the other one. Anyway, that's all my notes.
Chris, do you have any notes on this episode that you didn't watch but you really did?
Yeah, exactly. No, actually, pretty much everything that I had, we've already touched on. I assume we're going to do the checklist here in a little bit, but other than that, I got nothing.
Yep. Ferris, are you out, buddy?
No, I don't know if this will fit in with the comics tie-in, but I liked how the assassins were moving a lot like they did in Batman Begins with the kind of synchronized rank movement. Although there were only 4 of them, so it didn't look quite as good as Batman Begins. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. They've been doing that ever since they came into Nanda Parbat. So,
But I like that.
yeah. All right. So, again, every episode we throw a little thing in there because Wing started this but way back when we were re-podcasting about season 1. It's the comic book checklist, or as we just call it now, the checklist. Started out as the Bat checklist, went to the DC checklist, then became the comic checklist.
Yeah.
We just call it the checklist.
Back when this was the best Batman show on TV at the time.
Still is. Okay.
Second.
So, what do you guys got that would relate this to Batman or anything else?
Ferris Air mentioned again. They've been mentioning it throughout Arrow and Flash this season, so it's just kind of nice to see that happen.
Name checked. And when he mentioned the plane is big, should be big enough for all of this, all I could think of was, is that a Cessna 172 that they're talking about? That's going to be a long plane ride from Starling City to Nanda Parbat. Because those things don't go that fast. But anyway. Yep, Ferris Air was name checked. Do we have anything else?
We finally get Katana, who is a member of the Outsiders in the comics.
And the sword was named Katana, definitely, because Malcolm was like, "Oh, is that a?"
He asked if it was like a certain make or something, and she said it's a katana, which is not. It's not like a brand or anything special about it. It's a style of sword.
Right.
It was one of 3 swords that samurais would carry. So I don't know why it seems like such a big deal, because probably when they made the character, katana sounded really exotic, but it is a style of sword. It is one of 3 that samurai would carry.
Okay.
Hey, backing up, this is a true story. My mom's name is Carol, so any of you comics fans out there, Carol Ferris. Huh?
Nice. The Star Sapphire.
Are you guys getting anything else for the checklist?
So this is one I saw, and I think it's kind of a stretch a little bit, but Roy's new name is Jason.
Yes.
And Jason Todd is the Red Hood, and there was the Red Hood
exactly.
Outlaws book.
That's exactly the same thing I thought too. When she said, "I'm looking for Jason," I expected Todd.
Yes, me too.
Awesome.
But DC probably told them they weren't allowed to use the name Jason Todd because it's probably getting used in Batman v Superman.
Of course. Anything else, guys?
No, that's all I've got.
Yeah, that's all I've got. Everything else I saw was a little bit of some fanboy wishing that people were bringing up.
Okay, so we have a voicemail and then our prediction. So which one do you want to do first?
Let's do the voicemail.
All right. Here we go.
You're reading my mind, Jay.
Hey guys, it's Adam. Just calling with some feedback on tonight's episode. Favorite moment had to be that second where Felicity thought she killed one of the assassins by frisbeeing her tablet at him. But the rest of the episode was pretty good too. I really am not sure how much is what Malcolm did was stuff that Ollie expected and how much was Malcolm going into business for himself. Kind of surprised that Roy returned his costume to Thea. I mean, I know it won't fit her, so they'll need to do a new version for next season regardless, but it's definitely sort of leading in that direction. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. Talk to you later. Bye.
Adam, you and me, buddy, we're right there. Right.
There.
I think Felicity throwing the tablet and hitting the guy was probably my favorite part of this entire episode.
Yeah.
Everyone I've
I
talked
agree
to
with
who's
that.
seen this episode, that has been the moment they bring up. They go, man, I had a good laugh about that.
Yeah. It was great.
She didn't want to be there in the first place. Ends up taking out a ninja with a tablet. That's awesome. We'll just go with that. That'll be the myth.
It's the most useful. It's the most use you get out of a Surface tablet anyway.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll have to admit, once I got the iPad Mini, the Surface RT has hardly been booted up.
It's been your iPad stand.
Yeah. No, not really, but okay. So, thank you very much for calling, Adam. Hey, for anybody out there, we do have a voicemail line. It's 612-888-CAVE, C-A-V-E, or 612-888-2283. Give us a call and talk to us about what you like about Starling Tribune, or what you like about Arrow, or what you like about Flash, or Supergirl, or Legends of Tomorrow, or basically anything going on in DC Universe. You can give us a call, and we would love to talk about it. Right, guys?
Absolutely.
All right, so predictions. Are we doing predictions just for next episode, or are we looking at next season?
Honestly, I'm having a hard time with anything, really.
Ooh, Jay, the writer room Jay is having a hard time with predictions. This is
I don't know how.
interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how to predict next season because I'm not quite sure where they're going next week.
All right, well, let's focus in on next week, the finale for season 3.
It's.
I'm going to go out on a limb. This is bold. You guys can argue. I'm firm on this. I don't think everybody dies.
Yeah, no.
I think they're going to come out of it somehow. I just have a feeling.
You mean they won't kill off main characters? What?
It looks like that, but I'm telling you, something's going to happen.
Unless Joss Whedon writes the next episode, I think we're safe.
You think?
Well, he's not working for Marvel anymore, so.
Didn't see that coming.
So, do you think Ollie's taking a book out of the Bill Cosby playbook?
You might want to clarify what you mean by that.
The roofie.
Oh.
Yeah, I went there.
I was hoping for like pudding pops and not reminders of other things.
Well, okay. So, do you think it's a sleep agent, or do you think they were inoculated? I guess that's the two ways that you can go there.
Well, I imagine he's not going to use his only vial of the Alpha and Omega on Oliver's friends, so I imagine it's a secondary vial of some kind they swapped out with something else.
I think that talk of the cure was not for nothing, or talk of a cure was not for nothing.
Oh, you think one exists? I think that there's an inoculation that exists, which is different than a cure because you have to be inoculated beforehand, and I think that was administered to them beforehand. That's my
I see what you're saying. I can see that happening. That's good. Good thinking. You're good at this.
No, I'm not. Jay is good. Okay, so yeah, Team Arrow does not die. Okay, we got that one.
There's going to be something that happens next week that forces Lance and Oliver to have to work together.
You think? Huh, all right.
They've got to do something to bring him back into the fold somehow. I mean, we haven't had him around for, 3 episodes now? 2, 3?
I think if we're sticking with the same character, which they tend to have a hard time doing, making a character consistent, I think that it might be that Oliver basically shows up and threatens, hey, look, this is where I'm going to put my thing. You better go handle it. And, that's how he coerces him into going to do it. Instead of there being a reconciliation saying, okay, I will help you out, he's basically going to threaten, say, hey, I'm going to do this right here. You better handle it. And then Quentin goes and does basically what Oliver wants him to do, just it's more manipulation.
How about Lance for the season? Does Lance survive the season?
Lance physically got better at the second half of the season. I mean, he was just this frail guy popping pills left and right, and then all of a sudden he got this rage against Oliver, and he was just fine. So I think as far as surviving, he's definitely gotten better. I think that, yeah, he's going to be around for, I don't know.
Who dies? Somebody has to die this season, right?
Well, they already killed Maceo, and Roy, for all intents and purposes,
Don't
is
forget
a
the
dead
kid.
character.
Don't forget the kid. Akio died.
Killing somebody interesting.
Do you think they're going to kill? Do you think
Deadshot.
they'll kill Roz next week?
Oh. Well, in order to set Malcolm up for the big villain, wouldn't they have to?
Potentially, but then do you have Nyssa take charge then?
I was
Because
gonna
we
say,
already
what if
know
they-
Oliver won't.
What if they kill Roz and then Nyssa becomes the new Roz? So,
That would be
because
interesting.
we know at this point that it is a title that's passed down. And if Oliver has betrayed and everything, Nyssa would go back to being heir to the demon.
And they set it up these last couple episodes where she's enjoying not being Roz's daughter. She's enjoying being her own person. So there's this tragic element they would probably like that she then has to assume the mantle of something she doesn't really want anymore.
So she marries Oliver, who's pretending to be Raish, is sends to be Raish, comes out where he's not Raish. He's actually Oliver Queen. So she's never married to begin with, but is she still heir to the throne?
Well, if the chosen heir is gone and Roz is dead, then I would say she's probably in line because she's of the bloodline of Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
And she did marry the heir to the demon, whether or not he got deposed. So
I mean, and that's how they handled it in the Batman books at numerous points where when Roz was incapacitated or thought dead, Talia took over.
yeah,
All right.
very very convoluted.
Just a little bit.
This is true.
Hey, to backstep a little bit in the chat, Cajun Sean, I have to slowly say that now because I butcher it every time I say it, said that Malcolm secretly inoculated them, talking about Team Arrow.
Malcolm
I
or
could see.
Oliver.
Either one, I think, could work.
Yeah. All right. Any more predictions? Or...
Yeah, I think that was, I'm looking at it now. I think that was my third point. Is Malcolm good or bad? Is Malcolm good or bad? And I think despite his dickish things here, I think he is working for the forces of good. That is
This
my
time.
final answer for the season. This time.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's helping them out, but it's for his own selfish needs. He's going to turn it on it to, for his own purposes later.
Do you think that being race is part of his goal?
No,
Like,
I don't think he has anything. He wants the league. I think that he's got his own plans in the work now, and that's kind of why he left. He realized, I'm not going to get control of this, and it's not going to do me any good. So I'm going to go and form my own, league with blackjack and hookers.
And I think there's actually still a part of him that wants to try and have some kind of relationship with Thea. He's used her, but at the same time, he used his son before, too, for things, and still wanted to be a part of his life. So I assume he still wants to be a part of Thea's somehow.
He's just twisted enough that his concept of love could be something that forces him to do something like this. Like he could be doing all of this for the benefit of his daughter, and
Right.
Yeah. So Adam in the chat agrees. He says that Malcolm is both good and bad. So
got it.
yeah. All right. Any more?
It's good now, but it's not going to take.
Right.
he's kind of like Taco Bell. It's really good when you have it, and then you realize, oh, that was a bad choice.
About 10 minutes after you're done eating, you and use your imagination.
I have not had Taco Bell in years, but I had made the mistake just on a whim. As I was traveling down the freeway, I saw a sign for White Castle, and I pulled off, and I was like, oh, bad choice. Bad choice.
So, a confession, I've never had White Castle.
Oh, good.
You are dead to me, sir. You are dead to me.
They've never been anywhere I lived.
You need to come visit me. We'll hook you up.
White Castle in, White Castle out.
Pretty much. Okay, any more predictions, or are we all predicted out?
I think
I'm dead serious. At the end of this, Nissa and Felicity are both impregnated with queen babies.
I could see that.
Barry
Definitely.
Allen reboots the DC universe.
He'd almost have to. At some point, they have to make that demarcation between the television and the cinematic universe.
I think my final prediction is I don't think the death count is dead yet. I think somebody major dies. I'm going to guess Lance. I think at the end of it, Lance is dead, and the original Canary is back to life.
See, I don't know if they're going to kill Lance because I think they're going to kill Joe West on Flash.
All right, so a little bit of inside baseball. I watched a Q&A on Facebook that Stephen Amell did with Paul Blackthorne.
Yep.
And at one point he was like, a lot of people think that your character is going to die. And Paul Blackthorne, I mean, it didn't look like it was a practice thing. He looked genuinely shocked, like, really? Wow, that's okay. I didn't know that, but okay. So,
Well, let's back up a second. In season 1, the PaleyFest panel, Diggle was up there saying, yeah, I hope, just don't kill me, guys. Just don't kill me. I want to stay around. So
well, yeah. So
You never know.
I will repeat myself. If they kill Diggle, we riot.
All right. Okay, any other predictions? Or are we good with the impregnation, the double impregnation?
Well, I'm seriously starting to think that something that happens in Flash is going to have consequences here now that we've got the finale of Arrow and then the week after that, the finale of Flash.
Yeah.
They could theoretically do something that reshapes elements of this. And we already know that Oliver Queen's going to be on Flash this week too. So you could set up some interesting stuff.
Yep.
I don't think there's going to be a massive change, but something that happens there will have a repercussion in Arrow, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility too.
Very difficult. Okay, so you say that, and the crossovers have been fantastic. There's been little things that happen that have brought back over, and if you hadn't watched that episode, you wouldn't have known. Like the Canary Cry, for instance, that happened when Cisco was around in Flash, but it did not. There was no reference to it in Arrow at all. So all of a sudden, you see Laurel running around with an advanced Canary Cry, and you're like, "Well, how did that happen?" You wouldn't know. So,
I liked the air freshener version. Dang it!
yeah.
I can't be the only one that noticed that was an air freshener she kept throwing out.
That's what it looked like.
Pretty much. Now that you mention it, yeah. Now I'm going to have to go see screenshots and then buy one of those air fresheners. That will be my second Arrow swag that I have in my office. Okay. Are we all done with predictions? Anybody else got anybody?
From a selfish fanboy perspective, I want them to put Maseo in the Lazarus pit.
Yeah. He's right there.
It's not going to happen, but I want that to happen.
Yeah. Now that they've brought it out, I anticipate them using it again.
You got to be careful. That's Pandora's box. You can use it once and get away with it, but if it becomes just a typical trope of, oh, this person's dead, drop them in the Lazarus pit, you make death be inconsequential for the show.
Cajun Sean has a prediction in the chat. He says Lila dies.
Oh.
Well, I got to say that's something that none of us were thinking about, but now that you mention it, ouch.
I've kind of ignored that possibility because that bothers me.
If they're getting rid of Argus, you got to get rid of Lila.
Well, she retired, but she's about the right tier character to kill because she's not quite part of Team Arrow, but she's on the periphery of the team.
See, she was mentioned in this week's Flash episode. I won't give anything away in case somebody hasn't, watched the episode, but she was name dropped in Flash in a very important way that connected her back with Argus. So,
maybe she's not active in the field anymore, but I could have sworn she said she was no longer going to be involved with Argus.
No, she did. She basically said that she retired, but that doesn't mean she still doesn't have connections. She still has friends there, so.
And in the chat, there's been several references to the fact that Palmer Technologies becomes Queen Consolidated again, and I could see that happening with the transfer of ownership, but I'm wondering if there's going to be an interim step where Felicity actually names the company.
It's not going to happen. They're too butthurt at Oliver right now.
Smoke Technologies.
Nice.
So maybe the wealth is going to be Felicity's superpower now.
Somebody's got to pay the bills. Somebody's got to pay for those glass cases.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's all we've got.
Anything else, Chris? You good?
I'm tapped out.
Ferris?
I'm good.
So we are part of a network of shows. We've mentioned it a couple of times before. It's the Gonna Geek Network, and you can find it at gonnageek.com. Bunch of geeky shows, comic books, sci-fi, technology. We just love geeky stuff. Well, on the network is a podcast. It's new this year. It's not a new podcast. They've been around for a while. It's called Tyrion's Landing, and by the name, if you can guess, it is a Game of Thrones podcast. So
wonderful podcast.
It's great. Have you been on it, Ferris? I think you have, right?
I have.
Yeah. And so they, this week, did episode 83 on the Sons of the Harpy. Snakes near your head? How big a pain in the beep is Tyrion? You're nothing, Jon Snow. The ladies of Tyrion's Landing are talking Sons of the Harpy. Find out what they thought. Join Jeannie, Rachel, Nikki, and anybody else they have on to talk Game of Thrones. It's a great podcast. I highly recommend it. All right, so next week is the season finale of Season 3 of Arrow. The title of the episode is My Name is Oliver Queen.
Dibs for my quote
is it the
next week.
finale?
It is the finale.
Wow, you see, I try to be oblivious to this kind of stuff. I thought there were 2 more.
No, this is episode 22. We are talking episode 23, the finale.
Single hour?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh.
But it isn't it a crossover episode though? Like we get buried, don't we?
Yep.
Barry is in it. We saw at least in the preview for a little bit, and we know that Oliver is in Flash this week, presumably after whatever happens in the finale.
Because I keep seeing back and forth, like I keep seeing videos on Facebook, and I can never remember which one's from which show.
Right. There were some excellent extended previews, basically from the mid-season break, basically spring break time frame. There were some good previews for both these shows going on, so that's great.
Well, and I just saw, I haven't watched it yet, but somebody tweeted it to me. There is a extended trailer for the next episode of The Flash, just came out, minute long. So I'll be watching that when we get off the air.
Let's watch it now. Is that what you just tweeted? Or not tweeted, but...
We can watch it when we get off the air first.
I want to watch it now.
All right. So impatient. Okay, I just want to say thank you to everybody that is interacting with us on Twitter and Facebook. You guys rock. You guys make us go throughout the week. And a special thanks to the listeners in the chat tonight, Cajun Sean and Adam and everybody else that has joined us as well. We really appreciate you, listener, listening to us drone on about the awesome show Arrow.
Glad to have you guys aboard.
And thanks for coming at very last minute, Ferris. Thank you very much for coming on this week. It's always great to have you on the podcast. I know it's not always possible to fit you in your schedule, but we are glad to be fit in tonight.
Busy life of a metal dad,
Yeah.
No, this is a heck of a season. Like I said in the previous ones, when the season ended, I had 6, 7 to catch up with. And I don't think I've been more than 2 weeks behind this season, and I've been current for most of it. So it's going well. I can't imagine how they're going to wrap this all up in 1 hour. I really did not know that was the finale next week.
Yep.
Wow.
Not only have I been keeping up with Arrow because of the podcast, but also before I podcast every week, I make sure I go back and watch Flash as well, because the two have interconnected back and forth, even when they're not crossing over. So it's important to know the information back and forth. So it's like a mandatory 2 hours I got to watch every week. Mandatory. Twist my arm. Throw me in Nanda Parbat prison. All right. So you can find all of our contact information on the Gonna Geek Network at GonnaGeekNetwork.com. We have forums there. We have a lot of other shows. I think we're totaling about 15 podcasts right now, all geeky related. So just check it out. It's all great. As mentioned before, our voicemail line is 612-888-CAVE. That is C-A-V-E. Or 612-888-2283. Any last words at Scopound?
Mowedge.
How about you at Roundtable Nerds?
Maseo.
Aww. At DX Ferris?
Katana.
Nice. And I'll go with Mother. So this has been...
This was the Starling Tribune. You can leave us feedback at GonnaGeek.com or check out our archive at StarlingTribune.com. Visit GonnaGeek.com for more podcasts. Music by Kevin McLeod can be found at Incompetech.com. This podcast is not produced or maintained by the CW, Warner Brothers Television, CTV, or DC Comics. All characters, stories, and situations are the properties of Time Warner. No infringement is intended. We will see you for the next episode of CW's Arrow.